Hello everybody, this is KirbyDK10 coming at you with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to play some Overwatch and kind of just discuss sort of some of my impressions of the game. Coming back to it after quite a long break, I wanted to play some, just some of the, arcade modes, because I'm not really that big of a fan of the competitive stuff. Even quick play, I don't really enjoy that either. To be honest, I only enjoy the the casual side of the game, and that's ultimately what I am. Is I'm a casual fan of Overwatch, and I've always been since the beginning of the game. And in 2016, I can kind of give you guys a brief rundown of my Overwatch experience as well throughout this video. And one of those, how I got into the game was I started playing, I started first with my brother, who at the time he was in college. He really liked Hearthstone, and big Hearthstone guy. It was really the only game from Blizzard that he enjoyed, and he really liked it. Like, I mean, he almost joined a college league team, or however that works, and so he would have been kind of like pro amateur, and so Blizzard was at the time coming out with this new game, and I remember he kind of introduced me to, like, I'd seen him play Hearthstone. He had tried to get me into Hearthstone. I just wasn't into it. I come from Call of Duty, was my first sort of first-person shooter, and then I got into Counter-Strike. And so at that time, I was big into Counter-Strike, and I kind of, well, I don't know, I'm not as much as I used to be, but flashy colors. But at that time, I was big into Counter-Strike, and I was big into the surf, or not the surfing, but there was this other game mode called Course, where you'd like complete an obstacle course, and I was into that, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. With that came sort of a want to, like, be competitive, and whenever I first saw Overwatch, I didn't think it would be a competitive thing, right? I mean, at that time, it was also, the gaming landscape was a lot different. Really, the only competitive games that I knew were Counter-Strike, right? Like, was Counter-Strike, and I knew, like, competitive Call of Duty was kind of a thing, but I always thought of it more as, like, a meme, And, so my brother shows me a couple of the, like, hero introductions for Overwatch, and I was kind of actually interested in. My favorite was Bastion. This was whenever Bastion had a shield. This is how far along and how far ago this was, right? This was, before they removed Bastion's shield, and I remember, I swear, I think after he showed me those, maybe it was a couple weeks afterwards, the open beta came out, and Bastion did have a shield in the beta. And I remember playing this, and it was absolutely broken that he had a shield, but it was at that time, the game was super competitive. Super casual. And so, I didn't really think anything of it. And I remember this specifically. My first game on, I played Winston. I went on a 35 elimination streak, I believe, or somewhere along those lines. I don't know. It might have been like 36. Might have been 37. I'm not sure, but it was a massive streak I went on as Winston, and it was on, I think it was on Route 66, I believe. And after that, I was not really hooked, but I was excited for launch. And as well as I remember, Overwatch was reasonably priced. I believe it was $40 for the game, at least on PC. And if you wanted to, you could get the the $60, basically like Founders Edition, I think, or something like that, a special edition. And I remember I got that because, I was like, hey, I'm gonna play this game a lot. Well, I've only put about 160 hours in it total. I think that's total playtime between everything. I think if you actually looked at the time I've had the game open, it's probably more closer to like 200 something. But I've also that counts like waiting in queue and all that. And so I don't know what it could really actually be. Could be could be more, could be less, but that's kind of how I started. And I liked it because it was different from Counter-Strike. It was a game that it felt AAA, but because it was, right, it was AAA, but it had a unique art style, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a pleasant break from everything else. At this, and I also never had played a MOBA, so this was my first sort of like MOBA style, like heroes having cooldowns, really hero game in general. And I don't know, that launch window is like still special to me, even though I didn't really play the game as much as I really would have liked to. It's still really special. And anytime I hear like the Overwatch theme song, it reminds me of those like good times, and oh my! And I remember everyone was playing it back in that like March 2016. It was crazy. And so, after that time period, I kind of forgot about the game. I honestly did. Never really played too much. I played here and there. The events that came out definitely helped to refresh the game, but I'm very casual. In Overwatch 2, I probably have like less than 10 hours played. And there's a reason for that. And I don't think it's solely because of every decision they made, but it's a lot because of the decision they made. And again, I was really hyped for Overwatch 2. I really was, because I thought it would be a sort of resurrecting of the game, right? I thought it would be that 2016 moment again, but it wasn't. And so I finally came back to the game because they have announced they're kind of testing 6v6, and I'm a big 6v6 guy. I think the game should have stayed that way forever. I don't know why they changed it. I don't know. I think sometimes the devs just like to do stuff, which can be positive and can be a negative. They want to try stuff like 5v5 for a bit. Okay, cool. Oops. They want to try stuff like no hero limits, or 7v7 maybe. I don't know. It can be a good thing. It's not always bad. And I think that's kind of like what the experimental was in Overwatch 1, right? And it was good because of that. I think they gave May her freezing back. She can actually freeze people now. Again? Let's go. Yeah, that's cool. Or maybe it just slows them. I forget. I think that's how it does. Yeah, I don't think you can freeze them. But anyways. Yeah, I didn't really get to play through many of like the goats meta and all that, because I was playing other things too, Other things just had my attention at that time. And so I came back to the game in like 2021 because there's like really nothing I wanted to play at that point. And And yeah, I was really excited for Overwatch 2 after that, because I had kind of come back and I had a bunch of like different and new heroes to play that I hadn't, because they've been adding them. And that's one thing that I do think is kind of nice about Overwatch, is like you can leave for a few years and come back, and you wouldn't have like felt like you missed a ton, but there's still enough there. There's still enough like changes to the heroes that where it's like, oh, I guess I should have gone in. Oh well. I think we would have lost there anyway, but whatever. But yeah. So why, especially as well, I think one important thing too to understand is I'm also a support player, and so my favorite role is supporting, because it's just the role that I find the most fun. I like to help people, and I don't know, it's just the role for me. I've tried tank, and I liked tank in Overwatch 1, but that's also because the tanks that I play are Roadhog, and sometimes I can pull out a Winston, and if needed, I can pull out Reinhardt. But basically everyone else here, I don't know how to play, especially Malga, because he's new, and Junker Queen, because he's new, she's new, and Ramatra. But like every other tank here, I don't know how to play, basically, right? Besides these three. And because of that, in Overwatch 2, with there only being one tank, I find it's very scary to be like the solo guy doing your job, Whereas like if I play support, I have a second support that can kind of help me out in situations where I can't be there, because you can't be at two places at one time, right? And so it kind of helps to have like a person there that can kind of support. And that's why whenever they announced 6v6, I actually came back to the game. I thought they were gonna do like play test or something like that with it, but I don't think they've announced that. I think it's coming in next season or something like that, or I don't know, in a couple of seasons. We'll have to see. I am super stoked about it, because I do believe that like 6v6, even as a casual player, I think 6v6 is better. The main reason they wanted to go 5v5 was because of the competitive league, and if you had to, you have to pay one less person to play in the competitive league if you go 5v5. And so really the whole format is like so contrived, To me, it just seems really dumb that they even thought it would be a good idea. And so because of that, I'm gonna hang that over the devs' heads until the end of time. The fact that they've like sacked the game for 2 years because of pro play, that to me is super stupid. And again, like that's the thing, is like if you look at a game like Counter-Strike, it's not successful because there's a bunch of pro players. It's not the most popular game on Steam because it's made by Valve or anything like that. No. What it is the reason it's the most popular is because it has a strong casual, casual fan base. And it's because the game has a casual mode and then a competitive mode, and it separates those two. But as well as it has like basically no moderation in voice chat. It's basically the Wild West, right? And on top of that, they have like a couple of like noob friendly mechanics, right, where you can run and gun with SMGs and stuff like that. And you also have shotguns, and then the op is a lot easier for newer players to use than like the AK, where you have to get like a headshot and have to know like the recoil pattern and all that. And it has a strong it has a strong competitive and a casual fan base. But the thing that I see in Overwatch now is like the only fan base that this game has is like the hardcore players. Even if I go and play mystery heroes like I am right now, half these people in here are taking it like super seriously and actually trying, even though it's like in the arcade playlist, you know. And to me, that just doesn't feel right. And I think the main reason is because the game has been basically like self-sabotaged, and I think you don't have any of like those casual players anymore. You only have like hardcore people who actually care about the game left, and that's the only people that you do have left, are those hardcore fans. And most of them are, if you're hardcore about a game, you're usually pretty competitive. And so, you know, someone like me who's been out of the loop for a long time, it's kind of rough to come back. But all that complaining aside, you know, I think Overwatch, I mean, the you know, the character design is always going to be something that's their strong suit. You know, that's their thing that they have. Okay, all right. That's, you know, that's the thing that they're gonna always have. You know, they're gonna have strong visuals because it's a AAA game. I think one thing that they need to work on is just the gameplay. And I also think, as a support as well, having a second tank is nice, because if your main tank is like off, you know, focusing on protecting the team, the second tank can come in and give you a little bit of help with like peeling off like a Genji that jumps on you, right? For example. And as a support in Overwatch 2 right now, I feel very out in the open all the time, and there's not like a zen moment where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm perfectly at peace right now, and I could just keep living like this, you know? And I don't know if anyone else feels that, but it's especially exacerbated in 5v5. And I think as a new player coming into 5v5 is actually, I think it's actually harder than coming into 6v6. And then because, you know, you can't really misposition yourself as much, right? You can't not position correctly in 5v5. You have to be like perfect with where you are on the map all the time, 100% of the time. I don't know, I mean, I think one of my favorite new characters is actually the one I'm playing right now, Juno, because she allows you to kind of misposition a little bit, and then you can like use your speed and all that to like get away out of a bad position. Oh, all right. But oh yeah, as well as a couple other things. I don't think one thing I would also say that they need to do is they need to make me or make, especially because I'm a big like progression guy, I believe, you know, a game should be fun at its core to play, which I think in the 5v5 format, I don't know if it's as fun. It's can still be fun, but I just don't think it's as fun as like 6v6, right? And if that's not as fun as if it's not as fun as 6v6, well, then what else am I playing for, right? And there really is no like progression, right? If the game's not going to be as fun as it possibly could be, then at least give me a better progression system, and there really is none. And you know, whether that be maybe, I don't know, borders coming back, I think that would be a good idea. Which they got rid of borders, which I'm still kind of angry about. It's like, oh yeah, what if you're like that guy who the whole point of his like whole stream was basically to get the highest border level he could get, and now he has nothing. How do you think he feels? You know? He's wasted all that time in Overwatch 1, right? I think the gold skins for competitive are nice, nice way to incentivize some of that. I think the new, like, hero progression where you get, like, a different... It's basically like borders, but it's, like, hero specific, so it's kind of a little odd in that way where... Okay. Where it's basically like a substitute, and it's one of those things where it could be like hero borders where they just get rid of it, right? And so that's super fickle. And so, what else do we have? The battle pass, but you have to pay for it. I will say one thing I do like is in the free battle pass you can get currency. You can get up to 600 free currency, at least with this battle pass. I don't know how it is with the other ones, because again, I've only played during this season recently. So yeah, I mean, again, I will have to kind of see how I like how things have shaped up since I've last played, because again, I haven't really played as much OW2 as I did the original. I think I'm interested to see how these tanks would play in a in a format that was 6v6. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. It's kind of a long rant. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been your boy, CreeperDK10. Peace.